you got your typical days and you got your good days, your bad days, your average days. Generally, what will make your day a good day? You'll sort of get off your shift and say, yeah, that was a good day. Or do you have any of those?
Yeah, I think.
And what would make it a relatively good day?
Okay. A good day, like in any job, would be if you're working with good people.
Right.
And you don't end up kind of coming across or having to deal with any jerks. I think in terms of clinically, like the medicine that I say, I think it's a good day for me if I see something, in inverted commas, interesting.
Right.
Or if I have, I think this is probably personal more to me, but if I've been thanked.
By the patient? Or just in general?
In general, I think, but mostly by the patient. So, like in any job, if you're a bank teller, you can just do what they ask, or you can be friendly, or you can go the extra mile, or whatever. Same thing in the emergency department. And like you say, a lot of people who are in the doctor field or in healthcare in general are doing it because they want to actually contribute and help.
Right.
And so if you find someone who's genuinely in trouble and you do something to actually contribute to making that situation better, then it's like, and you get thanked for it, then it's like, well, that's my job done. I think in terms of bad day, I have become more and more, as work goes on, in negative about drunks. So belligerent drunk people tend to make my day a bit bit of a downer.
Of course. Why would they end up in because they injured themselves or they got into an altercation and they end up in emergency?
Yeah. So if there is someone who obviously doesn't seem to have the capacity to make decisions for themselves and are found wandering the streets and looks like they might get hit by a car or it looks like they've actually already been injured, the police actually have the right to pick them up and bring them to actually be assessed.
Oh, so they haven't actually been
they didn't
injured
call the
per
ambulance.
se, necessarily.
But if the police believe that then they are incapable of making, or the ambulance believe that they're not capable of making decisions,
they'll be taken to ED, to emergency, to be assessed.
Yes.
But okay, so if it's a healthy male, who is
if it's someone who doesn't seem to have any sort of mental health issue or anything, and they're just being violent, then they'll be arrested.
Right.
But if they seem to actually not be coherent, or they seem to have injured themselves. So if a person was drunk and they're acting drunk, the police may just arrest them. But if it looks like they've hurt themselves, then they will bring the patient to the emergency department to be assessed to make sure that they're not actually behaving this way because they've got a serious head injury or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So getting those type of people really makes it difficult.
There's varying degrees of, it's not drinking in itself,
of course,
but it's the belligerent drunk. So I think it's the opposite end of the scale to being thanked. So if someone recognizes they have a problem, recognize that you've done something to try to help them and thanks you for whatever you've done, that's great. But if someone, is actively swearing and spitting at you, then not such a good day.
Geez, so I'm assuming you've got security holding them down, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, if the police bring them in, the police officers tend to stay with them. But
all yours, Sonny. Good luck.
Enjoy. For the listeners out there, I'm not a big person.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Right. So with your job in general, then, so you've described generally what contributes to a good day, what contributes to a bad day. And people, if you do end up hospital, please thank your doctors. You've heard it firsthand. They do actually really appreciate that. You may have already touched on it with what you've just said, but I want to be specific with these couple of questions. What is it about your job that you particularly love, if there is anything? What is it about your job that really gets you going?
I think for me, it's the immediacy of it, I guess.
What do you mean by that?
So being in the emergency department, whatever the person's problem is, it's happening now. And I can do something about it now. I guess in the other fields, there's, obviously there may be just as much, but there's also more chronic problems.
Right.
That may take over and over care and that sort of thing. And I tend to have a short attention span. So, my favourite thing would be to have a problem, get in there, fix it, patch them up, be on their way, that sort of thing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? That's
yeah.
Of course that sort of gets you going.
Yeah, and the other thing for me is that definitely in emergency you see a real broad variety of things. It's, again, probably with the short attention span.
Pretty much, there's never a boring day, pretty much.
Yeah, you'll always be seeing different things. And different people.
Actually, that's a good point. Before you mentioned what makes a good day is when you see interesting cases. What constitutes interesting? Is it something new, something complicated, something not straightforward?
So yeah, it all of the above.
Okay, right.
Sort of thing. I think in general, if a doctor thinks you're interesting, that's not a good thing for you.
Hey, interns, come on, look at this one.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a bad sign. So basically, I think if a junior doctor thinks you're interesting, or if I call over a whole bunch of medical students to see you, it's because you have the classic signs of something, right? But if I bring over a whole bunch of senior doctors to see you, that's because you've got something weird and wonderful, and you probably don't want to be in the current position that you are.
Right. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right. So you like the immediacy, you like the variety. So obviously you like the go sort of nature about it. Right. Okay, so to flip it then, what is there stuff specific just in general about your job that really doesn't quite catch your fancy, really gets on your nerves? Other than belligerent drunks?
I think in general, a tough thing, not necessarily something that really gets me, but it's shift work.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a toll to constantly be changing your body clock.
And of course, so it's not necessarily you're on shift, but the fact that your shifts are always changing.
Yeah. Right. So it's not like, you'll do 3 months of day shifts and then move on. It's always changing. So you do some day shifts, you do some evening shifts, you do some night shifts. That's the unfortunate thing of being a junior doctor is that, night shifts are part of it. And you just, you take the most sane person in the world and you make them stay up all night and sleep all day and they will turn into a crazy person.
Of course.
Yeah.
You mentioned, so is it generally the junior doctors that are put on the graveyard shifts?
So once, at the moment at least, once you are the specialist, you are on call at night, but you don't have to be physically present.
Right.
So you get to sleep in your bed till someone wakes you up.
Yep.
And the registrars are in charge during the night.
Oh, so registers have a rotation. Yeah. Right. So you always have
So during your entire training time, you will be doing nights.
Night shifts. So it's all shared, the love is shared, so to speak. Right. So you are on call every night?
Oh, no. It rotates. So, depending on how many consultants look after, specialists look after the emergency department, you'll be on a rotating sort of thing. So if there's 28 of you, you'll be on call once in 28 days. If there's 2 of you, then you're on call every day. So
are you on call like for a week or a month?
Oh, no. So it depends on the emergency department rostering system. But for example, in one of my hospitals, if I work on the Saturday, then for the 24 hours of Saturday, I'm the specialist on call.
Okay. Because you're familiar with a lot of the patients, maybe?
Or so I will physically be present during 10 hours of the day. And during the times that I'm not physically there, if there's an issue, the registrar will call me.
Right. If they need to.
If they need to, yeah. And for the weekdays, generally it tends to be whoever's worked the evening shift will be on call for the night because, like you say, they're familiar with the patients.
Right.
Yeah. And they'll be on call until the 8 o'clock specialist in the morning turns up.
Okay. So, and when you're on call, do you get a lot of calls generally? No.
No, it's very rare.
Okay, for you, because I guess your escalation. So if the registrar can't sort it out, that's when they're.
Yeah.
So do registrars have to go on call?
No.
Okay, so
they only have to be present when they're present.
Okay.
I mean, there's like sick relief on call, that sort of thing.
Right.
So, if.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but not on a regular basis.
Okay, so doctors in general, other than for escalation purposes, they don't actually have to go on call.
Oh, no, this is just an emergency.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just emergency, of course.
Yeah.
For non-emergency, like, let's use cardiology, if you're not in the hospital, then generally there's a
registrar,
on-call.
registrars can be on call as well for the cardiology.
Right.
And then if they can't handle it, then it gets escalated to their boss and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Are interns and residents ever put on call?
Only ever sick relief on call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Right. Okay, that's good. No, it's funny because when I moved into my role, I had no idea that there was an on-call concept for IT. For those that don't know, I'm in IT.
Hate the pager.
Oh yeah, yes. We can talk about that some other time for sure.